Yareli is one of my favorite frames. I've played her a lot since she was released. I've got two, kinda three builds for you this time. For the shards, I'm using a parkour velocity shard, a casting speed shard, two corrosive shards. I'm using the corrosive shards because on one of the builds I use Hydroid's helmet ability, which inflicts corrosive statuses. With two shards, you can fully strip armor with corrosive. There's not really much benefit to using Tau Forged corrosive shards, so both of these are normal ones. I'm also using an armor shard because Marilena can benefit from it, and the slot was empty. If you don't want to use Hydroid's helmet ability, more armor shards is probably not a bad idea. Her passive ability buffs crit chance for your secondary weapon as long as she's moving. This works just like a crit mod, so it's not as crazy as what Hera can do, but it's still pretty good. Sea Snares immobilizes enemies and makes them more vulnerable to damage. You should be using this as often as possible, but there's a target cap of 15, so keep that in mind. It raises enemies up into the air, so it makes it a little bit easier to get headshots on them. So it's pretty good if you're using Incarnon weapons that need headshots. Marilena, the ability, summons Marilena, the creature. It's basically a K-drive. It has its own health pool, and 90% of the damage Yareli takes gets transferred to Marilena, kind of like Neja's boarding Halo. Marilena doesn't really benefit from any mods, but its armor can be increased by Archon shards. When you summon it, you become invulnerable for a bit, and Marilena's health scales by the amount of damage you block while you're invulnerable. You can kind of abuse that by allowing a Jade Eximus enemy to hit you with their ability. With this build, I replaced her third ability with Hydroid's Tempest Barrage. It summons a short rainstorm that inflicts corrosive status and deals a decent amount of damage. Riptide ragdolls enemies and sucks them up into like a floating ball inside a tornado, a water tornado. You can shoot an AoE weapon into it or cast Tempest Barrage on it to kill enemies pretty quickly. It's not super useful, but it does have some uses every now and then. With the Aura, I'm using Brief Respite for shield gating. You can replace this with pretty much any aura you want. With the Exilus mod, I'm using Cunning Drift for a little extra range, and because the negative friction actually helps maintain her passive. Primed Redirection is here for more shields and a longer shield gate. Regular redirection is fine if you don't have this. I'm using Stretch for more range, mostly for Tempest Barrage. Viral Tempest adds viral status to Tempest Barrage, making it easier to get kills with it. This is kind of a flex slot, so if you feel like you need something else, this is the mod to replace. Energy Nexus is here to make sure you always have at least a little bit of energy, mainly so that you can recast Marilena if it dies. Primed Continuity is here for more duration, mostly for a longer Tempest Barrage. Loyal Marilena makes it so that you don't have to ride Marilena. You still get the 90% damage reduction, but you can use helmet abilities and you can use any weapon you want. Marilena will cast Sea Snares as well, having its own target cap of 15. Both Yareli and Marilena can cast Sea Snares on the same enemy, and it'll actually stack the damage vulnerability of Sea Snares, so you can get some pretty crazy damage numbers sometimes. Adaptation is here for more survivability because sometimes 90% isn't enough. And Transient Fortitude is here for more strength, mainly for more damage vulnerability for Sea Snares. I'm using Arcane Aegis for a little more survivability, but you could replace this with pretty much any arcane you want. I'm also using Molt Augmented for some more strength over time. This is mainly just to get more damage vulnerability out of sea snares. This build is mostly the same as the Loyal one, but the main difference is it's using Marlena Guardian instead of Loyal Marlena. This augment makes it so that when you kill an enemy that's affected by sea snares, it heals Marlena for 20% of its health, and also buffs your reload speed and fire rate on your secondary weapon. If you do that Jade Light Eximus trick that I mentioned earlier, with this mod you can effectively make Marlena immortal, because if you've got millions of health, 20%, that's a lot of health that it's regaining, more than it can take for most levels of play. If you're a new player, this build can work. You can swap out the Loyal Marlena mod for the Guardian Marlena augment if you'd rather ride Marlena, or you can just replace it with any mod you want really if you'd rather ride. This build basically functions as a weapons platform. You just summon Marlena and use it to enhance your survivability while just using whatever weapon you want to use. I recommend bringing a crit focused secondary to make use of her passive. For the weapons, her primary and melee don't really matter because her kit really focuses on the secondary, mainly because of her passive. So I recommend bringing a crit focused gun. I like to use the Aki core, but you can bring whatever weapon you like. For the focus, it doesn't really matter what one you use. I use Materai just in case I need to use my operator amp for something like maybe a Void Angel. But if you're using the new player build, Zeneric might be helpful just in case you run out of energy or something. The companion doesn't matter, just bring whatever companion you like. To play the Loyal Marlena build, you just summon Marlena and then find a group of enemies, cast Tempest Barrage, cast Sea Snares. You can suck them up with Riptide if you want. Cast more Tempest Barrage, or just shoot them with a gun. You can really just do whatever you want. Just make sure Marlena is always summoned. And if the enemies are a little too tough, just cast Tempest Barrage to strip their armor with corrosive procs. Go ahead and show the Guardian Marlena build. You basically just ride Marlena, cast Sea Snares, and shoot them with your gun. It's super simple. Just try to stay moving so that you keep your passive up. And that's pretty much it. I think she's really fun. She's one of my favorites, maybe my second favorite, honestly. My only real complaint is that I wish we didn't need to use the augment to not ride Marlena. I think it would be nice if you could get on or off at any time without desummoning it. If this video helped you, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave a like on the video. If you have any questions, suggestions, or you want to share your own build or shout out about how much you also like Yareli, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks for watching and enjoy the gameplay.